Well, Solomon Adodo is our guest now. He is the president of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming on Sunrise Daily this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Well, I'm sure you heard the report, and I'm sure you also saw some of the T-shirts towards the end. If 29 million youths will vote, yes, Nigeria will be a better place. Yeah. Is it that it will be a better place or a different place? I don't know if... Well, that's the hope, that it will be a better place. But at least we'll definitely see more young people involved. What do you think that it would take to see people more interested, be they young or old? Because I would think that this apathy is now beginning to transcend generations. What do you think it would take to get more and more young people interested in what is happening politically?
Okay, first of all, for us at the National Youth Council of Nigeria, we've begun a very aggressive campaign to let the youth know the essence of registering and voting, the essence of being part of picking or electing your leaders, part of the process. And the end point of this leadership is to have good governance, is to ensure that development thrives and that the economy is placed on the path of growth again. You know, and we have lost touch significantly with that. And that's why you see that there seems to be apathy. Everything is just centered around the political happenings. We do not look at the other parts of the economic indices. We do not look at development. We don't look at other holistic issues. So we are looking at it from a broad perspective, a perspective that tells all Nigerian youth that yes, you are not just going for a ritual where you get your PVC and then you cast your vote and then you go away. It's a process that you need to midwife from start to finish. And so far as we are concerned at the National Youth Council of Nigeria, we are still on that process from 2019 to 2023. We've not lost touch of the fact that between now and the next general election, issues of jobs creation, unemployment have to also be addressed, so we're still looking at it. And going further, post-2023, as we walk towards electing our leaders, what will it be? So if we understand the import of being part of the process, I think more youth will engage in it, more youth will go get their PVCs. Apart from getting their PVCs, more youth will also be part of voting on the election day. We've been going around the country. I just came back from Cross River State. We've been in Plateau State, we've been in the Northeast, and when we go around, we don't just go to maybe the city centers. We also go to the hinterlands, we go to the rural areas where you have a bulk of the youth populace. We let them know that yes, you are part of the process of making Nigeria great, of building a better Nigeria. You understand? And so we want to garner and carry every youth along. On another note, we had a meeting with the Needs Assessment Mission of the UNDP, I think sometime in April. Yaga Africa was also there. We met with the UNDP Needs Assessment team that came to Nigeria. And one of the core points we raised was the issue of security. And we are letting Nigerian youth know that, yes, in the midst of the challenges, please do not be misled. We have had incidences of banditry in the Northwest. That's really affecting voters' registration. We've also had the instances of secessionist movements, the IPOB, the ESN, and so on and so forth. It is also affecting voter registration. And then if you cannot get sufficient numbers to register, at the end of the day, you'll realize that the voters would have been disenfranchised. Elections would have been rigged from long ago. The people will not be part of the participatory process where you build leadership that aggregates the felt needs. Because the essence of going to elect your leader is to elect one that you feel best identifies your felt needs, can champion your felt needs, can ensure that those things you desire are actualized. So we are talking to the youth. We are looking at the aspect of security. We are letting youth know that please do not be used. Let's do things the right way. If we want a better Nigeria, it's on us to build it. It's a process, and it's also a sacrificial process that requires patience and commitment.
I know that INEC did put in a few changes, maybe some major changes. Some people will say significant changes in this year's or this particular round of continuous voter registration, whereby you could start the process, or a lot of it is done on online. It's done on mobile devices and, you know, just online in general, whatever device you decide to use. And that was targeted at ensuring that young people are able to be a part of the process. So there is no excuse. Would you say that that has really had any effect?
Yes, it has had an effect, but you know, when you start it online, you must still go to complete it manually or physically. You must still go to complete it. But it has had an effect to the extent that more youth are being mobilized. It's easier to click online to start the process rather than going to queue, you know, from start to finish. So when you do the significant part online, all that's left for you is to just wrap it up at the centers where you complete your process, and then you get your PVCs. And we've been encouraging young Nigerians. We've been encouraging all our youth. We all have, or a greater percentage of our populace have smartphones or have access to cyber cafes where you can go in there and do your CVR, you know, and it's an obligatory duty. Please go and do it. It's a civic duty. Go and do it. Get it done. So it's, we've recorded improvement. We've seen people in most of the places where we've been to, where we hold our seminars, where we hold our programs. We launched the Electoral campaign just last week here in Abuja, and then it was from there we sprung up to go to the south-south. We'll be in the southeast and the southwest, all over. So everywhere we go, we tell people, please, if you've not done your CVR, we try to identify those who have their PVCs and those who do not have. And those who do not have, we tell them, we guide them also, and then we start the process with them. So this has significantly improved youth participation or youth registration in the CVR.
So we hope it will translate in the numbers. Let me flip this to my colleagues in Lagos. Gentlemen and lady.
Well, thank you, Mark. I just want to know, I don't want to take this for granted, how successful have you been in trying to reach out to, well, young people, the youth, especially because as a body, you're usually seen as, I mean, affiliated to government. You're supervised by the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. So just how is your approach in trying to reach out to young people across, you know, party lines? In fact, most of them perhaps don't even belong, you know, to a party. How well are you able to reach out to them coming from that background which you have, and, you know, ties with government?
Okay, first, let it be made very clear that the National Youth Council of Nigeria is an independent body. We are not tied to the government's apron strings. We only work closely with the Ministry of Youth because, of course, if you want to champion youth causes, then you must work with the government. We are non-partisan. We do not belong to APC. We do not belong to PDP. We do not belong to any other political party. We focus on the interests of the youth and the forward voyage of our country, Nigeria. And we've also been engaging with the youth leaders of the various political parties. We've had meetings with YPP. We've had engagements with the APC youth leader. And then we're in communication with the PDP youth leader also. And we'll be meeting with him possibly this week. We're in communication with other political parties, ADC and the rest of them. So we are mobilizing across board. It's not for APC, it's not for PDP, it's not for government. Our interest is in Nigeria. And when it comes to mobilizing the youth, we are still on the process. And we are calling on all stakeholders to partner with the Youth Council. It's a partnership. It's a partnership to see how we can channel the energies of the youth positively towards the 2023 election and beyond that towards building a better Nigeria, a greater country, a country where the unemployment figures will go down, a country where our dollar rate will not just be, the naira to dollar rate will not just be dancing and rising randomly. So we are focusing on issues of governance.
Okay,
we
just
are not
quickly
on partisan matters.
Right. And I think it's important to make that point. But just to be clear, what is your relationship with the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development? Because right there on your website, it says you're supervised by that ministry. So what is the relationship in terms of funding, administration, and all of that?
Yes, the supervision does not translate to giving directives to the National Youth Council of Nigeria. Like I stated, the Youth Council is independent, you understand. The supervision is a kind of trying to know, okay, is the council on track? What are the processes of the election? Giving feedback also to the federal government as it is. So the ministry is like a link, whereas the youth, the National Youth Council of Nigeria, is also that bridge between the youth and the government. So whichever government comes in place, whether a PDP government, an APC government, a YPP government, or an ADC government, we have it as a duty to partner with government. Remember, we are working towards building a great country. We are working towards advancing our economy. We are working towards national unity. And there can be no two governments at any time. So irrespective of whatever party is in place, we work with them. So the supervisory role does not translate to superimposing or foisting partisan matters on the National Youth Council of Nigeria. And so that's why we are open to everybody, and we are working with all parties. And still talking about the aspect of raising sensitization. Just last week while we were in Calabar, we had an engagement also with INEC, where we still harped on the need to partner with INEC, to partner with other stakeholders so that we can drive this message home. And that's been done. In a few days, you'll see that more accelerated programs will be carried on, and rapidly across the country, we've launched the Youth Run campaign, which is Rising Up for a United Nigeria. It focuses on honing the attention of the youth to leadership, the economy, and security. In leadership, we're talking about the essence of leadership. Yes, it's not just about us getting our PVCs and voting. It's about us scrutinizing the leaders that should be. If we are saying young people should rise to the plinth of leadership, what are we bringing differently? Are we coming for a new order for Nigeria, a Nigeria that can hold her head high in the Committee of Nations? Or are we coming for the old order, where it's all about what you can stash in your pockets? We are focusing on the economy. What are the factors that will enable Nigeria also compete favorably, so that our dollar rate, our forex rate will also come down? There should be a balance of trade. Jobs should be created. Unemployment figures should come down. Poverty should be significantly reduced. And then on issues of security, remember, without security, we will not even be talking about elections. So security is the bedrock of any nation. Security holds the sovereignty of a nation. And security also holds anything for economy to thrive. So these are the focus of the Youth Run. But the end point is to ensure that Nigerian youth are mobilized, to ensure that Nigerian youth are part of the process leading to the 2023 election and beyond, to ensure that a better Nigeria is built.
And indeed, I'm glad that you talked about engaging with the political parties across party lines, and you talked passionately about political participation for the youth. And in relation to that, we recall that the Not Too Young to Run movement had recorded some success by expanding the political space for the Nigerian youth. But with the new Electoral Act capping spending for between 4 billion naira and 5 million naira, for different offices, does this make the Nigerian youth, specifically the Youth Council, feel excluded from the process, with this rather high ceiling on spending for elections?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, it should be known that we didn't just start today. When we took office in late 2019, precisely in December, we began an aggressive campaign of letting youth know that, yes, now that there is an opening, now that the Not Too Young to Run bill has been signed into law, now that the age limit has been lowered, we need to prepare ourselves. We need to prepare ourselves politically to have touch with the masses. For an instance, if you want to be a local government chairman, you should be able to have connection. You should have done some projects. You should have engaged with the youth, the people in your local government, some form of community service. If you want to be a member of the State House of Assembly, you should have a sphere of influence. The Federal House of Reps, you should have a sphere of influence within your federal constituency. And also, if you want to be a governor, you should have a sphere of influence across the state. That's politically. Economically also, we are trying to groom a new breed of leaders, not those who are hungry for power because they want to stash their pockets, who see it as a means to financial El Dorado, to loot from the people. Young men and women who have done very well financially. I'm not saying maybe it should be the yardstick, but also to have a means of livelihood. And also trying to forge a network of youth across the country. And we're on that process. That's also part of the Youth Run, to see how we can raise finances for young Nigerians who will emerge as candidates of their political party. So irrespective of what the finances cost, I want to say that the Nigerian youth are very ready. We are devising strategies to see how we can fund our candidates. Also, you should ask yourself some salient questions. What do we use most of these funds for? In most instances, you realize that the major political parties, and both have been corporates, the PDP and the APC, they engage in vote buying, and it's a fact. So that's what they use a bulk of the funds for. We saw recently also a governorship candidate in one of the states saying that it's not going to be naira again, it's going to be pounds and dollars. What is that for? To buy delegates and to buy voters. But you see, the youth constitute the voting populace. So we are also passing this message. And thankfully, we have this medium that Channels TV has afforded us to let the youth know that, please, do not sell your votes. Let's relate with candidates based on merit, based on their antecedents, and based on the forecast that we believe that they can better champion the cause of society, the cause of whatever sphere of influence they hope to govern, whether as state governors, whether as local government chairman, whether as a president or even as a senator, in whatever capacity. So you realize that most of what monies are meant for are for vote buying and so on and so forth. The main things that we need finances for, maybe if you need to do adverts, you need billboards and so on and so forth, we will know how to raise funds amongst ourselves to support young candidates. But we will not need monies to go and begin to buy ourselves. We will speak to ourselves as brother to brother, as sister to sister. We will speak to ourselves across north and south, across religious divides, telling ourselves that we are not enemies of each other. Our enemy is under development and poverty. And then how can we collectively unite on the front to fight this and then chart a better course for our country? So at the end of the day, you realize that what most of these major political parties need funds for, we don't need them to do. We don't need the funds to do that.
You know, there are those
from
Mr.
Sokoto to Ogun State.
Well, there are those who would question a number of things. I mean, you have spoken to, you know, vote buying and all of that, and speaking emphatically. I mean, some would be asking for proof of whether or not you've seen or you have such information on good authority. However, and of course, that's what many people have said who have observed elections. But let's speak to this one. There are those who are questioning how you will persuade a young person who's been jobless forever, who doesn't have any resources on his hands, to say no to any of these offers that are made. I know it's a touchy one, but hey, that is one way to look at it. The second question you would want to ask is the issue of trust. I don't know how you're going to combine all of these things. The issue of, you know, vote buying is for contending with someone who is poor and unemployed and very, very needy. The issue of trust between the governed and the people the people who are governing, you know, Nigerians, and the Nigerians that they are governing. You know, we both know that the trust gap has been there for quite a while. Then you want to also look at, I mean, when you're talking about, you know, youth taking over and all of that, do they have requisite experience to take it all on? Because there are those who will be wondering, if the young people don't have experience in poverty, in politics, in governance, where will they have the requisite experience or knowledge to get into the saddle and do the job that needs to be done?
Okay, thank you. I'll take them as you brought them. First of all, when we talk about dissuading people from vote buying, of course, we know that we still have quite a number of youth that are unemployed. The NBS gives us a statistics that's above 30%, but in actual fact, we realize that you'll be talking about almost 50% if we are to be factual. What we're doing now, the National Youth Council of Nigeria, we are saying that even before 2023, how can we positively engage the youth? That is why the Youth Run campaign, which is focusing on youth mobilization, also has an economic component, a component where we will see how we can partner both with private sector and government and good-spirited Nigerians and international development partners to explore vistas of engagement, positive engagement, channeling the potentials of the Nigerian youth to productivity. We've made significant progress in some trainings and also equipping youth who are doing well today. I can tell you clearly that those who have been part of this program will not easily be bought over. But we're still telling those who have not been covered, because we know that it's a huge challenge of unemployment and poverty, that yes, there are sacrifices that need to be made. If we need to build a better Nigeria, whatever you do with your vote matters. If they buy your vote, which in most instances we've seen people pay 5,000 or even for 20,000 or whatever amount it is, it will not be sufficient to create new jobs. And so at this moment, we have also begun to strike at those who are political aspirants. We've seen for the main political party, the APC, the forms are 100 million naira. We are telling most of these people, yes, if you could go out there and buy forms for 100 million naira, how well have you engaged with the youth? How much have you empowered the youth? So we are mounting pressure. And that was part of what we did last week, shortly before the president directed that the ministers that are contesting for elections and appointees of government should resign. We made it very clear to the president, and the security agencies monitored our meeting last week where we did the launch of the Youth Run, that most of these people who are ordinarily supposed to be assisting Mr. President to ensure that good governance is driven, development is driven, that the youth participate and are beneficiaries of having their potentials come to the fore in building a better Nigeria. Most of them are only saboteurs who are concerned about taking over from Mr. President, not concerned about how to assist the president succeed, how to assist the president build a better Nigeria. So part of what we are pushing now, between now and 2023, is that all hands must be on deck. We've been working before now, but now we are going to work double time. There's going to be double pressure on everybody to ensure that the right thing is done. Then going forward to the issues of trust also. Trust is built, and that's why we said for those who are aspiring to leadership, we will not just say because a young man aspires to leadership, then he should be. We've sounded the warning, or we've sounded the advice long ago. Begin to prepare yourself. Engage with youth, engage with women, engage with everybody in your community. If you hope to be president of Nigeria, traverse the length and breadth. Let your impact be felt across the country. And when you talk about experience, where is experience garnered from? Where is it gotten from? Or what is the experience of the old class? You see, for me as a young leader, I do not believe in insulting the older class. But ask yourself, how well have their experience fared for us? In what direction has this experience pushed us? You know, an experience where most of the people, immediately they leave office, they want to jet out of the country because they've looted the public treasury. Is that the experience we are relying on? You know, we've trained ourselves. There have been series of trainings. We are talking to ourselves that we need to have a shift, a new order. And for us at the National Youth Council of Nigeria, that is the experience that we need. An experience, a lesson from developed entities or countries, knowing that those countries that developed, if you go to Asia, if you go to Europe, it is on the plinth of sacrificial leadership. That is the experience that young Nigerians are bringing to the table. That is the experience that we hope to have in the forefront. Not an experience of saying you've held this office and held that office, and yet there is no impact. Okay, so we are still saying the youth should be given a chance. And apart from saying we should be given a chance,
now, Mr. Adodo, I just
Yes.
want to ask you if the issues in the National Youth Council of Nigeria have been resolved. Have they been resolved, or are there still factions within the Youth Council?
Okay, first of all, we need to be very clear with this. You know, as an organization, we've had issues before now, and then we had harmonization. But as it is today, we are moving on as a united front. Remember, if you don't stand as a united front, and that's one of the things that people try to foist. Knowing the potency of the Youth Council, some people have tried to come in or maybe pushing funds to see, let's tilt towards this way or that way. But for us as a leadership of the National Youth Council, we keep saying the Youth Council is not for sale. The Youth Council is a balanced body, a body that should be for everybody, both the ruling party, the opposition party, and all the emerging parties. So the focus should be on youth governance, on development, on ensuring that the economy moves forward. So we have a united front today, and all Nigerian youths are making progress as one united front. We will also...
We're totally out of time. It's a fine place to leave you. I have to thank you so much for coming on Sunrise Daily this morning. Mr. Solomon Adodo is the president of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me, and we'll still repeat our call. Youth, say no to violence. Be part of the process. Go get your voters card. the CVR is still on. God bless Nigeria.
Amen.